Hope I find you well. Um, Trying to get a few things going. Oops, sorry about that. That might happened. Give me a minute, please. I'm just checking one or two things. I seem to have locked my bike. Okay, let me just try it one more time. Okay, good. I think it's free now. Yeah, in this very cold morning of ours, in the UK, you're watching this now at the platform where we speak truth to power. Please, as ever, when you join us, subscribe. Subscribe to Sister AY on YouTube, hit the notification button, give us thumbs up. Good morning and welcome. Um, the question I have on the broadcast is something I want you to think about. And we should all be thinking about that very much. Yes, I am speaking to you in English, but that's the irony of the point. That's the point exactly. Why am I speaking in English? I'm hoping that because of what we're doing now, this is one of the last times I will be using English as a main way to discuss among ourselves. I'm hoping because we need to understand what has been done. The question that I've asked, the question I'm asking that I continue to ask is, why are 200 million people forced to speak foreign, forced to use a foreign language to know their constitution? Why isn't the constitution in our local languages? That's the question in the sense that we're asking. Why are 200 million people not having the constitution in their local languages? That is a question for all of us to answer. It is clearly not acceptable. It is clearly not functioning. It is really not something that we must accept. We need to really be asking us questions. And this goes deeper into our own society when even we who speak our language in our schools, we are taught that our language is vernacular. That is damaging to our psyche. When you are taught that your language, your mother tongue is a vernacular, it's that you shouldn't speak it. When you are taught to pay money for using your own local language, when you're told that kind of message, it is actually destructive. It is destructive. It is not allowing you to grow. And we are holding ourselves back. And what I find incredible is that we have a lot of so called experts. We have so called experts, academics, who are quite happy to believe in that mentality that their culture is somehow inferior to the colonial culture. And that has been very damaging to us. It has been extremely damaging. The question I'm putting again is when you speak, when you speak in any forum, we've been so conditioned to accept that our culture is inferior to those of the colonizers, that we welcome and indeed we accept it and we promote that within our own society. And that is destructive to us. We are handicapping ourselves in using that kind of mental uh, 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 thinking, negative thinking about our own culture, our own way of life, our own clothes, our own food. We get this. I can remember when I was in school, and it's still happening outside, that we would talk that, right, okay, if you speak any other language other than English in your own land, you would pay money into the jar for speaking your own language. That is destructive to our mental side. And we need to be very, very clear about what has been done. So when we talk about this, it is not just a question of, oh, it doesn't mean anything. Language is everything. Our language, our communication, form of communication in our land is of immense importance. In fact, The longer you ignore that fact, the more damage that you are doing to the entire society. And I need us all to really think about this deeply. The churches, the mosques, they are engaged in perpetuating this brainwashing. Yes, you had me right. The churches and the mosques are engaged in perpetuating this brainwashing, and we need to address it. One of the things that we must do as a people is to reject any attempt to portray our own language, our mother tongue, as inferior on our land. When you accept that kind of mentally enslaved thinking, then you will never develop. We are holding ourselves back in our own development. And we need to confront this. Please subscribe to Citizen AY on YouTube. Go ahead and subscribe. You're watching Citizen AY, the platform where we speak to the power. How is it that the language of those who colonized us is what we are using in our school? That is damaging to us psychologically. And what is more, it actually disempowers us when we're using foreign language to teach in our schools, which means that the local people will have to go and learn a foreign language before they know things like their own. They know. One second, please. One second. I'm just gonna go. I'm just going off or right here. So just bear with me. I have a more, a mobility scooter as you can see, so I use that. So when often as I can, I would um, you know go down some roads and things. So yeah. So what I'm asking is this: 200 million people, 200 million Nigerians, and we're not even Nigerians. We are 200 million Yorubas, Igbos, Middle Belters, Thieves, Efi, Ibibio, Isha, with our own local languages. And we have been so mentally conditioned to accept that our language is inferior to the language of the colonials in our land. That is destroying us psychologically. That's what I want to put forward to you all watching me. It is psychologically destroying us. It disempowers us from being able to ask simple questions about our own laws. The laws of the land should be in our own local languages. No question. No question. Unfortunately, because of the mentally enslaved thinking, people believe that we must have English as a language of communication. And that is so wrong. It has damaged us for so long. We need to wake up from that mental thinking. That is what I'm here to really encourage us to do. Thank you very much. I need us all to wake up from that thinking. It is very damaging to us. It is actually hampered our growth and development as people. It has actually hampered our growth and development as people. And we need to really confront and indeed address that that misnomer. Like I said, they have given you the Bible in Yoruba. The Bible is in Igbo. The Bible, the Quran is in Yoruba. The Quran is in Igbo. It is in Hausa. It is in all of these languages. But the most important document that we need to know and be able to use in our communities has been left deliberately in English, meaning that for you to be able to challenge the system, you first need to understand the laws in a foreign language, translate it in your mind, and then begin to question the system that is designed to keep you disempowered. We need to wake up. Please subscribe to Season the platform where we speak truth to power. We're helping you to really raise the level of awareness to know your rights and be able to hold those who elected to office to account. Right? To hold those who elected to office to account. By you not knowing your rights in your local language, you cannot challenge the constitution. And that is why I am advocating for, singularly on this platform, that as we speak now, they are trying to make sure that they pass laws for state police and for devolution of powers. But we need to join hands now and demand for those the entire constitution to be in our local languages, to be in Yoruba, in Igbo, in Hausa, in Efik, in Tiv, in Ibizio, in Eshon, in Ishon. That is what we must all be advocating for right now. Because as it stands, as it stands right now, our lack of knowledge of our rights has hampered our development. Many people, because they do not know or understand what is in the constitution, they cannot challenge what is written in it because it is not in their language. First, you have to go and know English before you can fight for your rights. And there should be nothing between your rights and your constitution. There should be nothing between you and your rights. Your right should be something that is easily available to you to be able to access and hold those who were elected to office to account. It is your right. You have that right to hold them to account, to demand for, and indeed hold those who elected to office to account. And the best way to do that is to have this constitution in our local languages. I am calling on President Tinubu. I am calling on Senator Akpabio and the House of Representatives Speaker to ensure that with immediate effect that they pass laws to make it mandatory that the Constitution of Nigeria is in our local languages with immediate effect. That is what we must call for. That is what we must advocate for. They have the funds to do this. We must demand for it. And those of you watching me, if you want your community to change, the first thing that must change is that the laws must be in your local language. You must support us in this struggle. We need those constitutions in our local languages. Because if we do not have that, then the people cannot participate in the process. They cannot participate in the process of demanding for change. They need it in their local languages. And that is what we're trying to really bring to your attention. I hope many of you will follow what we're saying. It is really important that you really help us in this struggle. If we do not get this right, if we do not get support each other in this struggle, then to achieve Yoruba nation is going to be that much more difficult. To achieve Biafra will be that much more difficult because we are speaking to our people in a language they don't understand. I'm going to come back and do this in Yoruba on Oduduwa TV radio. And I want to emphasize the need for us. Our people need this constitution in our local languages. They need that in our local languages and to be able to hold those who elected to office to account in our local language. No ifs, no buts. That is what is hampering our development. If you look at China, China have their keyboard in their local language. China have their language, the laws in their local language. The people do not have to go and learn a foreign language before they know the laws that governs their lives. They are able to hold those they elected to office to account. And that is what we need to do. Please do share this broadcast. If we are going to make any meaningful change, any lasting change to our development as people, to be able to begin to hold our government to account, to be able to start demanding our rights, then those rights must be in our local languages. I once again call on President Tinubu, Senator Akpabio, the President Senate of Senate, and the House of Reps Senator Speaker. I can't remember his name now. For them to begin to join us and call for and ensure that The Constitution of Nigeria is in our local language. And they cannot come with any excuse that it will cost money to print. That is a lie. It is a way to prevent the people from participating in the process. The longer the people do not have the constitution in their own language, the longer the people are excluded from the process of participating in their governance. I have done something on Citizen A the platform always put to power. I'm not just talking. I have translated large sections of the constitution, and I'll be doing more in due course into Yoruba language for people to know their rights in their language. Because without knowing those powers, we cannot make or effect any change. The market women do not know that they have power to hold those in government to account. And we need to change that mindset. So please, like I said, for 200 million people to have their constitution in English, in a land where their mother tongue is not English, is a way to prevent people from participating in their own governance, from holding those elected to office to account. And that is criminal, it is unjust, it is unfair. And we are calling on every meaningful person who wants to see real change to take place in that place we call Nigeria to join forces with us. The first thing we must do is empower our people. How do you empower 200 million people? You empower them through making sure that the constitution that they have is written in their language. That is a massive advantage right there. Please do not take this as something that is not something to worry about. It's not of it's daunting. It is not daunting. As many of us as possible can take this task on. We can go. Every community should be calling meetings with your local community association and local government, your state house of assembly, your house of rep, your senators, your governors, to demand for the constitution to be written in Yoruba language, in Igbo language, in Efik, in Ibibio, in Tiv, in Hausa. We must do that. Without doing that change, we cannot hope to have infrastructure in our land. Because what is happening is that when people do not have, when you do not have um, when you don't have the constitution in your language, you cannot participate in the process of holding those you elected to office to account. Indeed, you will be afraid to ask questions because you have been denied the right to know your powers in your language by the system. The system is handicapping you. And instead of the system helping you, the system gives you a Bible and a Quran to yet again confuse you, keep you in the dark about your rights. You need to know those constitutions in your language. Why is it that the system makes sure that you have the Quran and the Bible in your local languages, but the very system prevents you from knowing your constitution in your local languages? It is designed to disempower you. It is designed to keep you in the dark. And we want you to wake up. Please, when we say this, we're not saying this out of hatred. We're just trying to make sure that we, the people, know that we possess powers, and those powers, we can best use it through knowing our constitution in our local languages. And we need to put a change, put a stop to the kind of the thing that we've been taught in school that our language is vernacular. When you do that, you make us not want to learn anything in our language. We think that to learn for us, you have to learn a foreign language. No, a foreign language is only an add on. This foreign language must only support our local language later on in terms of trying to go and speak in other countries. But in our land, our languages must be made supreme. And the best way that can happen is through the use of translating the constitution into our local languages. That way, everybody knows their rights and they can stand for it. Give me a second. I'm just changing the battery on my. Um, I believe. Let me just see. Yeah. I'm changing the battery on my scooter because the scooter has gone off. Please do share. Look, it is not right. 200 million people are having to learn English to know their rights. And because you look at the education, look at what is happening in education. The government is not funding education. If you have the constitution in your language, it will mean that you can question your local government chairman, your state house of assembly members in your language because you have the constitution in your local language. And I cannot overemphasize that. Now that they are about to pass a law to mandate state police, we, the citizens, we have the right to participate in it. They are going to pass laws for the state police to be run by the state, which is good. That's a good thing. But please, the other part of it has to be that we need to be able to participate. Even now, I encourage us all to participate in that process. We need to participate in that process. Please do share the podcast. We need to participate in that process by making suggestions, recommendations. Before they pass that law, before the House of Reps and the Senators pass that law, you can participate in that process. And how do you do that? You can make suggestions. Yeah, so it's a very good go now. We change the battery. You can make suggestions that, right, okay, with the state, you can, at your community, you can say, in my community, anybody who is going to be in the police have to be speaking my local language. You can make the demands. They have to be have been living in this language in this country in my community for X number of years. You can make that recommendation. And that is why I'm saying for us, it is important that the constitution is in our local language. Because when we do that, then our people can automatically participate in the process. We are being removed from the process. The longer that the constitution is in a foreign language, the longer it's keeping us away from participating in our governance on a daily basis. Excuse me. Beg your pardon. Very cold. So the reason I'm saying all of this now is that here is an opportunity for us all. We have an opportunity to make this change now. Now that they are trying to do a constitutional review where they're going to put state police and the state police and the devolution of powers as key things that's going to be reviewed in the constitution. We have the opportunity to participate in that process. I want us all to join hands now. We need to begin to be shouting from the rooftops in every community to demand. Every community, you have a right to demand for the constitution to be in your local language right now. That is the first thing you must do. If we are going to have Yoruba nation, then let us make sure that the constitution is in Yoruba. So we can now say when we go for Yoruba nation, that everything that we need has to be in our local languages. And we must demand for that right now. Because without that, you cannot participate in the process. They will keep making laws that would not. They will keep making laws that would upset you, that would be to your disadvantage, that will keep you in the dark. So we need, I'm urging us all now, every community must start demanding right now for the constitution as it currently is to be translated into our local languages. No is no but. It is your right. It is your right. We need to start there. If you do not know how to, if you don't have the constitution, then you cannot challenge those in power. Thank you very much. If you do not have that constitution in your local language, then you cannot possibly hope to challenge anybody you elected to who is serving you. Because they know that you don't know your rights. And we need to put a stop to this. You know the Bible, you know the Quran. Tell me, how has that improved your roads? How has it improved your water? How has it improved your school? Right now, we need you to join forces. Every community, Igbo, Yoruba, Hausa, Ibibiu, Tea, Isho, Fulani, Demand for that constitution in your local languages right now. That must be the most important documentation and begin to teach that in our schools right now. Because without doing that, this is the foundation of action. Now, once you know what is in the constitution in your local language, you can now challenge it. But if you do not know what is in the constitution in your local language, you cannot challenge it. That is the problem. That is the fundamental problem that I maintain that we face. And we need our people to wake up. Please do share the program. You are responsible where we speak active. And as you see me now going past, I am on my mobility scooter. And I have mobility issues. Um, making it difficult for me to get around. But thankfully, I have the scooter, which means that I can actually be able to get around and drive and do things without necessarily having to wait, around. And it makes me more independent that way. Now, I can get up and move around, but it's limited. I still have a walking stick that I walk around with, but that is what it is. So what I'm trying to do, I'm hoping that in doing this, by doing this, we wake each other up, we help each other to begin to know that what we need in our community is a joint effort. We need a collective joint effort. And I'm going to be doing a lot of programs about this. I am adamant that without making this change, you see, if we do not make sure that the constitution is in our local languages, whatever roads you want, whatever schools, whatever community you want will never materialize because you don't know the power that you possess. And the fact that there is the barrier of having to learn a foreign language before you know your rights actually hold back your development. We need to remove that barrier from our communities. We need you to join hands. Join Citizen AY, the platform where we speak truth to power. Help us share this broadcast. Reach many more people. Talk about this in all our communities. Right now, the number one task before all of us. Now that they are now saying they're going to review the constitution and they want to put the state police and devolution of powers, the first thing is before we do that, to enable as many people as possible to be part of that process. We demand for that constitution to be in our local languages. Sorry, money. Okay. We demand for that constitution to be in our local languages. That is first and foremost. This is something that must be non-negotiable. This is something that we must support wholeheartedly. Anybody watching this, you have a role to play. Share this broadcast. Demand. You can do your own video demanding for the constitution to be in our local languages. That is the most important thing we can do right now. That's the best way we can help ourselves. It's the best way we can help ourselves in our community. When you have the constitution in your local language, what that means is that the people will take action, collective action, to demand for roads, to demand for water, to demand for schools, to demand for bridges, to demand for healthcare in their own local language. They don't have to wait for somebody from abroad before they take action. That is what we're trying to do here. Please share the broadcast. You, of course, watching Citizen A1, the platform where we speak truth to power. What we want to do on this platform is to empower you to know your rights, to hold those we elected to office to account using the powers of the Constitution critically in your local language. Your local language is a powerful tool. You do not need to go and learn a foreign language before you know your rights. The fact that you are having the constitution in foreign language is putting a barrier between you and your rights and being able to exercise and express those rights and hold those elected officers account. And we need to put a stop to that. So please, when you get the broadcast, share your responsibilities in the platform where we speak to power. We need you all to join hands and demanding for this. Now that we've now heard them say that they are now advocating for, and indeed they are supporting the clamor for for state police. Many of us have been asking that the state police for state police. We've been asking for devolution of powers. To be able to be part of the process, we need every community's voices to be heard. And for that voice to be heard, it has to be in their local language. Please share this broadcast. Reach as many people as possible. You're watching Citizen AY, the platform where we speak to power. We need our government. The hunger that you're in our land now, we can put a stop to it by holding those who elected to into account. You can ask the government in your local language. You can say, Oga, owó wọn fún yín lówó, ìjọba àpapọ̀ fún yín lówó, níbo lówó yẹn lọ? Nínú ìwé òfin, a ní àṣẹ àti agbára láti béèrè ẹ̀tọ́ wa. Níbo lówó yẹn lọ? I'm saying this to you in Yoruba because I need you to understand that you do not have to speak English to know your rights. You do not have to speak English to know your rights. Your rights must be in your local language. Again, I'm saying it. You do not have to speak English to know your rights. Your rights must be made available to you in your local language, which is your right. Every community right now, to put a stop to the hunger in your community, you need to start participating in your governance. You do not have to accept that the constitution is written in foreign language. You have the right to demand for that constitution to be written in your local language, in Yoruba, in Igbo, in Isho, in Ibibiu, in T, in Hausa, in Fulani language. It is your right as a citizen to demand for that. You can demand for it and ensure you can demand for it. You can ensure that you start teaching this to your community. This is so important. I am urging you all. Do not ignore this message. Join us, join Citizen AY in demanding that the Constitution of Nigeria be translated to our local languages. Join us in the struggle. That is where we must start from. To get Yoruba nation and all of this stuff. Yes, we can get Yoruba nation. But if you do not have the constitution in our local language, you cannot hope to make any changes. And that is what I'm trying to bring to your attention. Please share this broadcast. The time is now. They are going to put in state police. Your voice. What does your community want? What type of state police do you want? The best way for you to be able to participate in that process is for that constitution to be in your local language, in Yoruba. You can now hold them to account. You can hold them to account. You can participate in the process. You can demand that you want your state police to be people. Everybody who's going to be the police in your state, they have to be able to speak the language. They have to have been in the local community for X number of years. You can do all of that. You have the power. You did have the power to do this. And I want you to know that you have the right as a citizen of Nigeria to demand for the constitution to be your local language. Because guess what? What forms Nigeria are local communities where they speak the language, their own language. And that local language can no longer be ignored anymore. You must speak up to ensure that any laws, written, spoken, whatever, must be in your language. It is a right that you must demand for right now. Because when you know those laws, once those laws are written in your language, it means that you can see what has been written and the community can have meetings together to decide to challenge those laws. Please, 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 I cannot overemphasize how important this is. I'm going to come back later on again this morning and talk about this at length. But I need you all to join us on this bandwagon. The bandwagon is a simple message. Translate the constitution into Yoruba language, into Hausa, into Igbo, into Ibibiu, into T, into Isho, into as many of the languages that we have in Nigeria, because we are the sovereigns. The people that make up Nigeria are Yorubas, they are Igbos, They are middle belters. They're thieves. So why is their language being removed? Why are they being prevented from having the constitution in the language? Because we are the ones who make up Nigeria. That is a fact. That is a fact that can be disputed, that can be argued in any court of law. I am prepared to stand up and argue for this. Please join us. You are watching Citizen the platform where we speak to power. As I speak to you, please don't just watch this service. Help us. Thank you so much. Thank you. Help us reach more people. Help us share this. We need the constitution in a local language. Particularly now, this state police. How do you see the state police working in your community? You can participate in it, but it has to be in your local language. And I'm calling on everybody watching this podcast. When you get it, pass the message on to your community. Let them know they have the power and the right to demand for the constitution as it is right now to be in their local language. Please share this podcast. Let us reach as many people as possible. This is so important. I urge you all, please take it as your personal responsibility to demand for this. Thank you very much. Thanks. Take it your personal responsibility to demand for this right. It is our right to ensure that the constitution of the nation is in our local language. It is, after all, the constitution is based on the population of the people. The constitution is based on it's the constituency of the number of people, Yorubas, Igbos, Hausas, Middle Belters, who are in that place. And it's our language. Our language is our mother tongue, and the constitution must be in our local languages. Enough of this injustice. If we keep ignoring this, if we do not take steps to demand for the constitution right now in our local languages, then we're not ready for the we're not ready for any kinds of protest. See, I am telling you now, our people need to know their rights in the language. The Chinese, they know their laws in Chinese. Their keyboard is in Chinese. Everything that they want, you speak Chinese. If you go to France, if you do not speak French, you cannot get any benefits. If you do not speak their language, you cannot get into any employment. It's their language. Why are we doing this to ourselves? It's time to wake up. My people, I'm urging you all, when you get this podcast, share it. You're watching Citizen Network, the platform where we speak to power. This new law, the state police review of the constitutional review that involves the state police and the devolution of powers, it is the most important piece of information that we must participate in. We must help our people to participate in that process. I urge you all, join in this struggle, share this broadcast, demand for the constitution in your local language. Believe you me, I want Yoruba nation. Don't get me wrong, I want Yoruba nation. It must happen. It must. It must happen. We must have the we must have the constitution in our local languages, because that is the only way that people can participate in the process and demand what kind of state police do you want? What kind of devolution do you want? Your voices need to be heard. But if it is not in your local language, you cannot participate in it. You cannot participate. So please, I urge you all, wake up, share this broadcast. You're watching Citizen Network, the platform where we speak truth to power. I really need you all to. Thank you very much. Thanks. Bye. So now, please, I cannot overemphasize this point. When you get this podcast, have you shared this in your community? Have you made them aware of the fact that it is now time for them to have the constitution in the local languages? You see, all the money that we're sending home, do you know why we're sending money home? We're sending money home to Nigeria because our people don't know their rights. We know, many of us who are abroad, we see how things work abroad. And the people use their rights to hold those elected officers to account. Our people don't know this because the constitution is in a foreign language. We need to put a stop to it. The number one task for all of us now It will encourage our community to demand for the constitution in their local languages. Please share this podcast. Help us reach more people. You, of course, watching this is Network, the platform where we speak truth. I'm going to be back later on and talk about this more at length. But this is a bandwagon that all of us must join hands in. We need to join hands on this. This is not something that we can no longer be silent. This is an opportunity for us now, with this new plan that they have to review the constitution. Let us now make sure that that constitution is in our local language, so that we all see what is in it, and we can all collectively make the demand for the changes we wish to see in it. For now, I'm going to say thank you very much. You've been watching Season 1, the platform where we speak to the power. Help us reach more people. Share this podcast. I'll be back later on. Thank you.